consequences if you look hard enough. Now, some time ago, I became familiar with the story of David Boyle, who fought to clean up his city, the city of Cicero, Illinois. Now, Cicero is a western suburb of Chicago. It's been a hotbed for corruption. Al Capone spent some time there in the 1920s and was pushed out of Chicago. And for a long time, it's been notoriously tied to the mafia. Mr. Boyle passed away earlier this year, but I found his obituary online from the Chicago Tribune. A few excerpts from it are appropriate because this really tells his story about who he is and what he had done during his 62 years of life, and I'm going to pick up on it when he and his wife, Nadine, moved into Cicero. Upon settling in Cicero, the Boyles moved into what they thought was a cheap apartment across from a lovely park. They soon realized the building was occupied by prostitutes and a cocaine dealer, and the park was ruled by gangs. The Boyles moved to a house down the street from Mr. C's, a bar that stayed open until 6 a.m. Mr. Boyle's anger led to action after Mr. C's patron was fatally stabbed. Police said that while the man was still bleeding, the body was carried onto the street where he died. In a 1986 Tribune interview, Mr. Boyle said that prompted him to fight. "I don't fashion myself as a leader," Mr. Boyle told the Tribune. "It just ticked me off that they killed some son of a gun, then took him out, and laid him on the concrete still pumping blood out of his guts, and never closed for 5 minutes. I drove by in the morning. The chalk mark was on the street and the blood was everywhere. That really opened my eyes. I said, what's going on here?" Because of the efforts of Mr. Boyle and his can-do committee, Mr. C's lounge was shut down and the early closing referendum measure was passed, which changed the bar closure time from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. "He just really loved Cicero and he wanted to elevate it," his wife said. And maybe he did. Maybe